This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday, August 12th, 2021. I'm Efrem Graham. Ahead today, the Taliban capturing more cities as it gains ground in Afghanistan on its way to possibly capturing the capital city, as many Christians are fleeing the country. Back here at home, Democrats try to pass their huge $3.5 trillion budget, but some moderate Democrats believe the tax and spending plans go too far. We're going to hear from an expert who disputes the UN warning on the increasing threat of climate change. And our special two-part Olympic report on the athletes who overcame the odds to win or just to compete. We're going to hear the stories of their Christian faith. You don't want to miss that. All those stories and more are ahead in today's edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour overseas in Afghanistan, where the Taliban is seizing more strategic towns and cities in the north and western parts of the country. The terror group has now captured 10 of Afghanistan's 34 provincial capitals. With the U.S. forces set to leave by the month's end, intelligence officials are warning that Kabul could fall into the Taliban's hands within 90 days. Here's CBN's George Thomas.
In Afghanistan's western city of Farah, the Taliban celebrated their takeover by dragging the dead body of an Afghan soldier through the streets, chanting, "God is great."
The situation is under control in the city. The Mujahideen of Islamic Emirate are assuring people that there is nothing to worry about.
But Afghanistan's government has a lot to worry about. The terror group is now in control of 2/3 of the country, the 10th provincial capital falling today.
There is a major crisis of legitimacy within the Afghan government right now. President Ashraf Ghani now finds himself with several major provincial capitals being overrun.
The former head of British forces in Afghanistan telling CBN News that a number of key capitals have fallen without even a fight because morale among Afghan forces has been so decimated following America's decision to withdraw troops.
No matter how much training we put in, no matter how much money we invest, if the troops don't feel they can support and give their lives if necessary for the government, then they won't do so, and that is the reality of the situation.
And as they continue to capture key cities, the terror group has been breaching central prisons and releasing thousands of their fighters, as well as raiding Afghan government weapons depots.
They are really stockpiling on people, weapons, supplies for a longer war.
Caught in the fighting between Afghan forces and Taliban insurgents, hundreds of thousands of ordinary citizens now on the run. Among them, an Afghan female reporter asking the world to pray for her as Taliban soldiers go door to door, forcing families to give up their daughters, some as young as 12, to be sex slaves for their fighters. CBN News spoke to one Afghan Christian family that's also trying desperately to flee the country.
Many of the Afghan Christians are also leaving. They're moving into some of the neighboring countries. Others in the country are maybe moving to a different city, moving to a different part of the country to try to get ahead of the Taliban.
With U.S. and NATO forces set to leave by month's end, the intelligence assessment is that Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, could fall into Taliban hands within 90 days. George Thomas, CBN News.
Here in the U.S., Senate Democrats have passed a blueprint for their huge $3.5 trillion budget, but the details still have to be filled in. Moderate Democrats worry it might go too far with its tax and spending plans, and Republicans warn it will lead to bigger government and higher prices. Here's Capitol Hill correspondent Abigail Robertson from Washington.
Moderate Senate Democrats hope to convince their colleagues to cut the multi-trillion-dollar budget bill before they commit their support, while Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer vows to keep all of President Biden's agenda in the final product.
It will have every part of the Biden plan in a big, bold, robust way.
Democratic Socialist Bernie Sanders, Senate Budget Chairman, exerted major influence on the bill.
It really is the most progressive priorities we've seen out of the Democratic Party put into one proposal.
Connor Semmelsberger from the Family Research Council says this bill is not what families want.
It really is this liberal wish list that is couched in this language for being about families, when in actuality, it's really what liberal elites, many of which don't have children themselves, are dictating for the rest of the country.
Semmelsberger says Senator Joe Manchin helped Republicans take an important step in preventing taxpayer funds from paying for abortions.
Senator Lankford worked with his colleagues across the aisle and actually got an amendment added to this budget resolution, which reaffirmed the Hyde Amendment and then the Weldon Amendment, which protects the consciences of healthcare professionals to not perform abortions.
Economist Stephen Moore told CBN News' Faith Nation he's aghast at how much money the U.S. government plans to borrow.
This is a gigantic amount of money. Each child born today, if this passes, will pay $600,000 in debt over their lifetime. I have nothing good to say about this. We should be saving money right now, not spending it.
And fears if this becomes law, it will cause a financial crisis.
I am very worried about inflation, especially if they pass. Look, if you pass another $4.5 trillion of debt borrowing, that's going to be financed by printing more money. And when you print more money, that means more inflation.
As House Democrats prepare to take up the budget bill, there's a chance the price tag could go even higher, and they might try to remove Lankford's pro-life protections too. Reporting from Virginia, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Coming up, a warning from the UN this week on climate change, that the Earth is heating up quickly and that human beings are causing global warming. But we're going to hear from an expert who says, no, the world is not in crisis. We'll explain when we come back.
Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Wednesday at 3 on the CBN News Channel.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
Code Red for Humanity. The United Nations released a new report this week warning the Earth's climate is getting so hot that within the next 10 years, it may likely exceed levels that world leaders are trying to prevent. The chair of the UN panel on climate change says human beings are causing global warming. But on this week's episode of The Global Lane, the executive director of the CO2 Coalition, Gregory Wrightstone, disagrees, and he disputes claims that the world is in crisis.
The UN secretary said this report should serve as a death knell for coal and fossil fuels, or the planet is doomed. Well, if we look at what India and China are both doing, they're moving full speed ahead with coal-fired electricity generation. What India is doing, they're snubbing their nose at the UN. They said The developed world has had 2 centuries to be able to develop their economies using fossil fuels. And too bad for us. What we're going to do is we're not going to look at global or our CO2 emissions. We're basically going to just look at our per capita CO2 emissions and continue to build coal-fired electricity generation plants. China is going full speed ahead. And in fact, if you look, they have more coal-fired electricity generation facilities planned and under construction right now than there is in the entire United States. So any reductions that we in the Western world do will be dwarfed by both India and China. And bear in mind, China is the #1 CO2 emitter of the world, India #3, and we're right in there at #2. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay because I love CO2. We've talked about this before when I've been on. What we see is that the increasing amounts of carbon dioxide are leading to an Earth and its ecosystems that are thriving, and the human conditions are improving because of that. I can provide the science. I can say, okay, they're telling you X, but the science, here it is, here's the science, it says Y. They need to create a climate of fear. Fear is a great motivator, and they're using both hunger and fear to advance this so-called politically correct agenda. When I ask people, well, why do you think they're peddling this completely contrived story? And I hear people tell me, oh, it's the money, it's the funding, it's control, it's taxes. It's some people have gone so far to say they want the people funding this or want to destroy the capitalist system and the Western economies. It might be a combination of all those things.
What should we do, if anything, to protect our world?
Well, when the Earth's ecosystems and humanity are both thriving and prospering, I'd say get out of the way.
And I want to let you know you can watch the full interview with Greg Wrightstone on The Global Lane. It is on the CBN News Channel or the CBN News app. It begins at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Up next, our special 2-part look at many of the Summer Olympians and the medal winners. They are making the rounds, talking about their victories, and many are sharing their faith story as well. Stay with us.
Are you suffering from feeling tired or worn out during the day? Can you not turn off your brain at night? You are not alone. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Bruce, the Sleep Doctor, and I've partnered with the Christian Broadcasting Network, and we're going to bring you some unbelievable information that you can use tonight to get a better night's rest.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Protect Your Sleep today.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man, come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes too, and so much more. Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
The Summer Olympics did not disappoint fans, with story after story of athletes overcoming the odds and winning medals, or even just making it for the opportunity to compete after some major injuries and obstacles. Many stories of faith also came out during the Summer Games. CBN's Charlene Aaron spoke with John Ackerman with Sports Spectrum to highlight a few of those stories in this two-part special report.
The Summer Olympics didn't disappoint fans, with story after story of athletes overcoming the odds and winning medals, or even just making it to compete after major injuries. Many stories of faith also came out of the Games. John Ackerman with Sports Spectrum joins us now to highlight some of those stories. Welcome, John.
Hey, Charlene. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Sports Spectrum is known for reporting stories of faith in the world of sports. So what is your favorite story to come out of the Summer Olympics when it comes to faith?
I would have to say Sydney McLaughlin. She set the world record and won a gold medal in the women's 400-meter hurdles. And, you know, just about anytime she gets interviewed, she likes to give praise to God. And what I love about her, she took a social media break during the Olympics, and when she came back on Instagram, she had some wonderful things to say about just, you know, she hopes that her journey is a depiction of obedience to God, and just very vocal about her faith. And I love to see it, especially when these young athletes are on a stage, a platform like the Olympics.
I understand that her boyfriend is a minister and he wants to become a pastor, and so she said in an interview that she will probably be a pastor's wife.
Well, I know she is recently baptized in the ocean just this past fall, and so I think she might be you know, coming to faith stronger as she grows older. But she's very unashamed of sharing her faith, and she's obviously an amazing athlete as well. And so this platform that she's going to have, as she is now an Olympic gold medalist and a world record holder, is just going to give her a platform to share about Christ even more. I mean, she's 21 years old, so this definitely isn't the last that we're going to see of Sydney McLaughlin.
Absolutely. I love her. And so let's talk a little bit more about some of these athletes individually. Caleb Dressel, swimmer specializing in freestyle and butterfly sprint. Absolutely amazing.
A lot of people talk about him like he's the next Michael Phelps, and I heard Caleb say, well, I'm not Michael Phelps. I'm Caleb Dressel. I think he really introduced himself on a larger stage with these Olympics, just with the number of gold medals that he won. And he's very emotional, a lot of his interviews. And I think that people love to see that, just some raw emotion like that these athletes aren't robots, and just showed how much winning gold medals means to him. And he's obviously very well known for a big tattoo that he's got on one of his arms. And it's inspired by the Bible, by one of his favorite verses in the Bible, talking about flying on wings like eagles, and that's the big eagle that he's got, was inspired from his favorite Bible verse.
Talk about Allison Felix, track and field sprinter, who is also the daughter of an ordained minister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Olympic legend. She's now the most decorated female track and field Olympian ever, most decorated track and field Olympian from the U.S. as well, when she got her 11th gold medal in these 11th career gold medal in these Olympics. And so it was quite the journey for her to get to these Olympics. She had a baby. It was a little bit of a rough pregnancy, but she really used that time as motivation, and becoming a mother said that, you know, I want to use this time to show my daughter integrity, to show my daughter hard work. And that's really what drove her to get back into these 5th Olympics. And yeah, she's grew up in a strong Christian household. Parents were obviously involved with the church. Her and her brother were obviously involved with the church. And she has used that foundation of faith to build her career and to obviously be a very successful Olympian.
Who can forget Athing Mu, a middle distance runner who set the world record in the women's indoor 800 meters in early 2021. She is phenomenal.
She's 19 years old. 19 years old. Can you imagine being 19 years old and you know, winning gold medals at the Olympics, and her race in the 800 meters wasn't even close. Like she just dominated. But she says that, you know, her main goal as a Christian is to to live in the image of Jesus. And I just love that perspective, especially from a 19-year-old. She's another one of these young track stars that we're going to hear a lot from here in the future. And what was really cool is about Athing Mu and Sydney McLaughlin, they were both a part of the final race that Allison Felix won in the 4x400 women's relay. So that was Allison Felix's last career Olympic race. They won the gold medal. It's really cool because it's a 4x400 meter relay, so they all run once around the track. None of them are really 400 meter specialists, but those three women, along with Dalilah Muhammad, dominated that race.
I call them the Golden Girls, the dream team, because they obliterated anyone else that was in that race. It was amazing. Well, John, stay right there with us. We'll be back with more stories of faith with a few more of the Summer Olympians right after this.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
We're back with Sports Spectrum's John Ackerman with stories of faith with Summer Olympians. John, we've talked about some of these athletes. Let's start this segment with Kenny Harrison, who set a world record in the women's 100 meters hurdle.
Another athlete who's just unashamed to share her faith. So what I really love about the Olympics, and especially these Olympics in particular, is just how we just saw women, especially, win so many gold medals, win so many medals in general. It's not easy to get to the Olympics, and let alone win a medal in the Olympics. But we had a lot of women this time around just win a lot of medals, and she was another one who's just unashamed about showing that she relies on her relationship with Christ to perform at this type of level.
You know, John, it's easy to praise God when you've won a medal as a believer, of course. Let's talk about somebody who didn't win a medal, Trayvon Bromell in track and field. He was the favorite. I mean, even Usain Bolt had really tapped him to be the next 100-meter gold medalist, and he didn't even make the finals. Talk about him. He's got a great faith, of course.
Yeah, that was a surprise. A surprise to see him fail to make the final in the 100, but he knows that there's something more important. You know, the Olympics are important in his career, and certainly he wanted to make the final. He wanted to win a medal for his country, but he realizes that there's something more important, and that's his relationship with Christ. And he's going to continue to praise God in the hills and in the valleys. That's not the last that we're going to hear from Trayvon Bromell. I mean, he's still a phenomenal sprinter. I look forward to seeing how he relies on his relationship with Christ and shares that journey from how he bounces back from this.
And the fact that he even made the Olympic team again, because he's had some serious injuries throughout his career. He's had hip surgery. He's had I think both knees replaced. So he's had some major hurdles to overcome, and yet he's still doing it. So good for him.
Yep.
Nicola McDermott, high jumper from Australia. She actually founded a ministry. Let's talk about her.
Mm-hmm. I was excited to watch her compete because I saw earlier this year that she had set an Australian record in the high jump, the women's high jump. She cleared 2 meters for the first time. And I knew that would put her kind of in medal contention. And sure enough, she won a silver medal at the Olympics. She was one of only 2 or 3 women, maybe only the medalists in women's high jump were able to clear 2 meters at the Olympics. So it's a really big deal. And she was competing with Jesus written on her wrist. And yeah, she started a ministry because a lot of these athletes, we see them on a greater stage during the Olympics, but a lot of these athletes, they obviously compete year round, and they're traveling around the world to other competitions. And she just wanted to be able to share her faith, to maybe even speak into other people's lives about Christ as she's traveling to these other competitions, these other parts of the world. What her ministry is she's going to pour into other athletes who want to do the same thing, teach them how they can be bold in their faith, teach them how they can spread the gospel through their sport. So I'm excited to see now that she's an Olympic silver medalist. And so, again, talk about platform a lot with these athletes. And when you win an Olympic medal, that can just increase your platform that much more and give you more opportunity to share about Christ.
More opportunities to share about Christ. And that brings us to our last question, John. How do you think God can use these athletes now after the Olympics and in the future?
Yeah. Well, like I said, platform. A lot of these athletes, especially athletes who win Olympic medals, they get a lot of media requests, a lot of requests for interviews and TV stations, websites, podcasts, local newspapers, local TV stations. They all want to talk to these athletes and hear about their experience at the Olympics. And that gives all of these Christian athletes an opportunity to share about Christ, to share about how they relied on their faith during the Olympics, leading up to the Olympics. It gives them an opportunity to share not only about their athletic success, but a lot of questions will be asked of how are you able to accomplish such a big goal? And I love it when I hear athletes talk about, I relied on my faith in God. I stayed consistent in my walk with Him, and day by day that just led me to where I'm at now. And through athletics, I'm able to glorify God, and I just love it when athletes are able to share that. And Olympic athletes, kind of come into the spotlight maybe every 4 years, but they'll get many opportunities now after competing in the Olympics because it's such a lifelong achievement. That they'll get to share about Christ for many years.
Awesome. And those are just a few of the ones that we know about who are believers in the Olympics.
Exactly.
God bless each of them. Well, John Ackerman with Sports Spectrum, thank you so much for bringing us these amazing stories.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
With that, I want to leave you with this prayer of gratitude. Father, thank you for your love. As we know from the cross, your love and your blood reach the highest mountain and flows to the lowest valley. Your love and your blood will never lose their power. With that prayer, I trust you'll make today a thankful Thursday. Make this a day filled with gratitude. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel, or you can find them on the CBN News app and, of course, at our website, cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. That's the email address right there at the bottom of your screen. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.